The UFC makes its pay-per-view return to Australia as UFC 221 takes place on Saturday, February 10 from the Perth Arena in Perth, Australia. The main event features Rockhold and Romero for the interim middleweight championship. Rockhold though will be the only competing for the title as Romero failed to make weight after coming in at 187.7 instead of the 185-pound maximum. The fight was in serious question as negotiations took place between Rockhold's team, Romero's team and the UFC, but all parties came to terms early Saturday morning. In the co-main event, in heavyweight action, former heavyweight title challenger Mark Hunt takes on Curtis Blaydes. Sporting News will be providing live updates and round-by-round scoring of UFC 221. UFC 221, Rockhold vs Romero results, live updates. 11:40, a highly exciting opening round. For about half the round, Blaydes stayed on the feet and tried to strike with Hunt. Blaydes got a takedown but Hunt got up quickly. Hunt looked to have Blaydes finished as he lands punch after punch and nearly knocked him out with a thunderous right hand. To Blaydes' credit, he somehow survived and scored a key takedown to control the rest of the round. Not much happened in the second round. Hunt was tentative in his striking, not wanting to get taken down again. Blaydes finally secured a takedown much to the dismay of the crowd. He kept Hunt on the ground and smothered him for the remainder of the round. 11:29, have never seen Hunt in such fantastic shape. Can tell he's taking the fight very seriously. 11:25, coming up next in the co-main event of UFC 221, number 5 ranked Mark Hunt squares off against number 9 ranked Curtis Blaydes. It's been a wild ride for Hunt since his 4th-round TKO win over Derek Lewis at UFC Fight Night 110 in June. He's still in a lawsuit against the UFC, Dana White and Brock Lesnar. He was scheduled to fight Marcin Tybura in the main event of a UFC Fight 121 in November, but the UFC pulled him from the fight after Hunt said in an article that he was starting to suffer from memory loss, even though Hunt claimed he was joking and was fine. Hunt went to Las Vegas to take a series of tests. Ultimately, he got allowed to compete. Blaydes is in the biggest fight of his career. He is unbeaten in his last 4 fights. The Chicago native will have to get the fight to the mat as he doesn't want to stand and trade with one of the greatest strikers in the history of MMA. Tuivasa pummels Cyril Asker. 11:13, Tuivasa def. Asker by TKO at 2:18 of the first round. That was a striking clinic at his finest. Tuivasa used his left and right hands and even used sharp standing elbows to Asker, who was nothing more than a punching bag. Liked how Tuivasa showed maturity and would connect on a couple combinations, back off and then go to the body. Masterful performance by Tuivasa. In a division lacking names, Tuivasa instantly becomes someone we need to keep our eye on in 2018. 11:03, coming up next at UFC 221, in the heavyweight action, Tuivasa goes up against Cyril Asker. Many people feel Tuivasa will become the first Australian fighter to become the UFC heavyweight champion. He's undefeated in 6 fights, all wins coming by knockout or TKO, including his UFC debut over Rashad Coulter at UFC Fight Night 121 in November. Asker's had a mixed bag so far in his UFC run, going 2-2. But he did emerge victorious in his last bout at UFC Fight Night 122, beating Ye Zhong Ho via second-round submission. Lot of pressure on Tuivasa here. Asker can easily spoil the party. Jake Matthews outstrikes Li Jingliang. 10:47, Matthews def. Jingliang by unanimous decision, 30-26, 30-26, 29-28. Great fight. It started with an entertaining first round. Matthews and Jingliang threw everything but the kitchen sink. But Matthews connected when it mattered, dropping Jingliang 2 times. He had a couple opportunities to choke out Jingliang, but the latter survived the round. The second was just as exciting as the first round. Matthews dropped Jingliang with a vicious uppercut. On the mat, the referee inexcusably missed Jingliang, eye-gouging Matthews even though he was right on top of the action. Matthews and Jingliang got back to feet and unloaded the heavy artillery to the point where Matthews, bleeding a crimson mask, kept daring to keep punching him.